Oh, I think it's it. I think it is done. I don't think we have to talk about Benjamin Šeško anymore. Of course, we've talked at length about the possibility of the Slovenian moving from the Bundesliga to the Premier League. For more on this, let's welcome in Ian Dark, Don Hutchinson. But Rob, never ever have I been so pleased to see you. Because is that it? We don't need to talk about Šeško anymore?
Oh, well, United fans will hope that we're going to talk about Sesko all season, because if he comes in and scores loads of goals, he's going to be the main man and he's going to be a topic of conversation for the rest of the season. But yeah, in terms of his move, this is something that's been ongoing for months, possibly even years. It's almost every transfer window we talk about Benjamin Šeško moving to the Premier League. He's been linked with almost every top club, Arsenal most recently, now United. United have got the deal done. They've agreed a fee with RB Leipzig. He's flown to Manchester tonight. He's going to do his medical tomorrow. And we expect that he's going to be presented as a new Man United player before their friendly against Fiorentina at Old Trafford on Saturday.
That's it. Good. Done. If you want to see everyone talk about Benjamin Šeško, just look at every show we've done over the last 3 weeks. What does that mean, though?
Yeah, was it not Alexander Isak?
What? No, Šeško as well.
Šeško. All right, well.
Don't interrupt the flow of us saying goodbye to the Benjamin Šeško conversation, because it then moves us on to your boys, Don, in real trouble now as to who they need to bring in to reinforce that front line. Of course, Šeško was to be the man to replace Isak. You said, get rid of Isak, bring in Nunez.
Didn't quite say that, but I think he would work at Newcastle, but unfortunately he's gone to Saudi, so I'm trying to rack my brains of the A-list number 9s out there, the realistic ones. I mean, not going to get Kane, not going to get Lewandowski. And there's talk of like Nicolas Jackson from Chelsea for 80 million, and Šeško was valued at about 75. I mean, I'd lob another 20 in and try Inter's hand for Lautaro Martinez. Quite ironically, you had a list of Ballon d'Or contenders there. Martinez was on it. I didn't see Šeško on it. I didn't see Nicolas Jackson. So why wouldn't Newcastle try and go 100 or 95 for Lautaro Martinez? They're going to need a number 9. Obviously, they lost Callum Wilson. They didn't get Ekitike. They've not got Šeško. The only hope now is, because they haven't got a number 9, Alexander Isak stays. That's probably what Newcastle fans at the minute are clinging on to. But it's a long shot, because Liverpool are not going away. But what Newcastle have got, they've got a player that's got 3 years left on his contract, and they literally can't let him go until they bring. And I think what they're saying is they want 2 strikers before they allow Isak to move on. So, as Ian said, there's a game coming round the corner in about 8 days' time, and Newcastle have got to move pretty quickly.
Why would Lautaro Martinez want to go to Newcastle, by the way? When he's at Inter, they get into Champions League finals. They didn't win the Serie A last year. Probably should have done. Why would he want to go to Newcastle? And why would Darwin Nunez all of a sudden work at Newcastle when it's been quite clear that he's struggled on in the Premier League?
Good question. Good question. I just see a player, Craig, and you guys know, when you see a player that puts on a Man United shirt, a Liverpool shirt, Real Barca, sometimes that shirt can weigh a little bit too heavy. You remember his debut, got sent off on his debut, he's emotional. But I think there's a player in there. I think when you look at the profile of player, when you think of what Firmino was for Liverpool, he was coming short, linking the play, and he was getting goals for Salah, getting goals for Mane. Darwin Nunez is a different type. He's more in a profile, and I'm not comparing, obviously, but he wants balls played down the side like Erling Haaland. He's that type of player where you get him down the side as a defender, he's rapid. Now, what he needs to learn, he needs to learn how to be calm in front of the goal, because he's too erratic. Now, at his age, I think going to somewhere like Newcastle, obviously it's not going to happen because I think he's going to Al Hilal. But if he went to Newcastle, I could see a player that Eddie Howe could develop and also be given the time. And you guys know what it's like. I've had it in my career when a manager will say to you, listen, relax. Just go and play the next 6 games, 10 games. You've got no pressure. You don't feel as though you've got to score every single game, otherwise you're going to be on the bench. I think if he played nearly every game for Newcastle in the Premier League, and Eddie Howe got his confidence back and got him playing again and got him chances in front of goal, there's definitely a 15 to 20 goal striker in there. I'm convinced of it. It's just not happened at Liverpool.
Jurgen Klopp couldn't get him going, and Andy Slot didn't fancy him. One of the problems here for Newcastle.
Slot couldn't wait for him, though, Craig.
One of the problems for Newcastle.
Slot couldn't wait for him. Liverpool were got.
No, he wasn't good enough.
Sorry, Greg.
He wasn't good. He wasn't good enough for Liverpool.
No, I think.
Okay, all right. Well, he's going to Saudi Arabia.
They couldn't wait for him.
I don't care. Nunez wasn't good enough for Liverpool in the Premier League. The one thing I think, one issue I see with Newcastle is actually being able to attract the players. Sesko they were prepared to pay big money for Sesko. He didn't want to go there. He wanted to go to Man United. Now, Newcastle are way ahead of Man United in terms of on the field at the moment. We know the problems of United on the field. That looks to be getting negated somewhat by the players that they have signed. Not perfect, but they certainly look as if they're going to be in a better position. They still have the ability, because of their size and because of their history, to sell the club to players. Maybe not like how they could in the glory days when Fergie would pinch a player from other clubs at the last minute, but they're still a big attraction, even though they've had major problems on the field. That's the issue for Newcastle. The issue for Newcastle is they have to pay the money and they have to attract the player. And I think we're seeing that with the Benjamin Šeško deal, because they were able, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were prepared to pay more money at the time for Benjamin Šeško, but he wanted to go to Manchester United, and that's Newcastle's problem.
Meanwhile, Robbie, take a look at what Newcastle are going to do, and it's interesting, Don mentioned Nico Jackson. He seems to be shipped around everywhere at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chelsea have made it quite clear that he's available. They've signed an awful lot of centre forwards this summer already. They've got Liam Delap, they've got João Pedro from Brighton. He was a little bit hit and miss last season. I think Chelsea fans, some love him, some aren't that keen. And I think, unfortunately for him, he's going to be one that has to make way for the likes of Delap and João Pedro. In terms of what Newcastle do, and I think Newcastle really are looking for players that want to join, because they've been snubbed at so many different turns this summer. The Benjamin Šeško one will hurt, because I think they thought at one point that he was going to join them. That Newcastle's tactic with that was to agree a deal first with RB Leipzig and then hope to agree with Sesko. United have gone the other way round and have tried to convince Sesko first. They've got the yes from Sesko and have then gone to RB Leipzig and said, well, your player wants to join us, you've got to negotiate with us. And that seems to have worked. So Newcastle are in a difficult position now, because the Isak situation is difficult. Obviously they're going to want him to stay. He clearly wants to go to Liverpool. He needs to be replaced. I think Nicolas Jackson's not a bad shout, really. Don just talked there about the pressure and of playing every week and not having to score. If you're going to get benched, I think that he would quite enjoy that at Newcastle. Newcastle fans love their centre forwards. He's quite enigmatic. He's a little bit raw in the terms of how he goes about his football. But I think Newcastle fans might embrace that. And I think in terms of goals in him, I think Nicolas Jackson is a 20 goal a season player. It's just getting that out of him, and maybe Newcastle is the place for him to do that.
I don't get this.
Not at that price.
No.
I mean,
they're wanting 60, 70 million for Jackson. Are you telling me you can't
80.
find? You telling me you can't find somebody who's going to run all day, run the channels, smash into defenders, do all kinds of stuff, give every single thing they've got, and you're going to have to pay 70 million for it? I mean, that's madness. Nicolas Jackson cannot finish. So why does a team like Newcastle need Nicolas Jackson? It's a waste of money.
Ian, your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I agree with Stevie. Nicolas Jackson's pretty erratic, but he's available at the moment. That's a pretty big thing with Newcastle. We've heard about all the rejections they've got. They must feel like jilted lovers at the moment. They really must. But there's a couple of other names. I mean, they're after Johan Wissa from Brentford. I think they need two strikers, because Callum Wilson, is injury prone, has gone to West Ham. Looks like Isak isn't going to play for them again because the bridges seem to be burned. So they need two strikers. So Wissa, I mean, another name there I would just throw in, who they might make a bid for, might be Ollie Watkins. Now, Villa don't want to sell him, but I think for 60 million or so, you've got a proven Premier League goal scorer there, and that might be an idea that crosses their mind.